going to start off by making brown sugar. So in the mixer I have 4 cups of white sugar, and this is an organic cane sugar. And I want to add about 3 tablespoons of molasses. And I'm just eyeballing it. I don't try to achieve a dark or a light brown sugar. It's just whatever comes out. And that is it. About 3 minutes of mixing. Hello family, welcome back. If you're new here, welcome. I am Vicki and you're with Grammy in the Kitchen. I had plans on baking cookies today. My Azure order is tomorrow and we're doing a gift basket for the driver, and I want to make some sweets for him. Plus, have some extras for the house. So I had to start the day off by making brown sugar. And brown sugar is so simple. It's just cane sugar and molasses, and you can put as much or as little as molasses you want in it to make it either a light, dark, or a medium brown sugar. I just put a couple tablespoons in it, 4 cups, whatever type I get, that's what I use. It doesn't matter to me. We're going to be making chocolate chip cookies, peanut butter cookies, snickerdoodles, and oatmeal cookies. We're going to refrigerate this dough because I do have to go to work today, and then when I come home this evening I'll just go ahead and cook the cookies at that time. But I want to get the dough made and in the refrigerator. So that's our brown sugar we just made, and I just store them in the wide mouth mason jars. And now we have 2 quarts of brown sugar. Perfect. So the first cookie we're going to make today is a chocolate chip cookie. It's the same recipe I use every time I make chocolate chip cookies, but I don't have any chocolate chips. So I stopped by Lidl's and picked up a bag of chocolate chips. Not perfect clean ingredients, but that's what we're going to use. Not even going to bother washing this mixing bowl because it takes brown sugar anyway. So in the mixing bowl I have a cup of white sugar, a cup of brown sugar, 2 sticks of butter, and we're going to mix that until it's nice and creamy. And we're going to slowly add in 2 eggs, a teaspoon of vanilla, and in this bowl I have 3 cups of flour, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, a half a teaspoon of baking powder, and 1 teaspoon of salt. And this is a mini semi-sweet chocolate morsels. It's a Lidl brand. And we need to add 2 cups, which should be this bag, but we'll find out. It is perfect. So 12 ounces of chocolate chip is 2 cups. Let's mix that in. Now we're going to roll it into a log on this parchment paper. And that is one cookie dough done. Now I'm just going to put this in the refrigerator until we're ready to cook it this evening. The next cookie we're going to do is a soft oatmeal cookie. So in the stand mixer I have 1 cup of white sugar, 1 cup of brown sugar, and 2 sticks of butter. We're going to soften that. We're going to mix that, add in 2 eggs, 1 at a time, and a teaspoon of vanilla. In this bowl I have 2 cups of flour, 1½ teaspoon of cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of salt. We're going to mix that in really well. And then I have 3 cups of oats. I'm using rolled oats, but you can use quick oats if you have that. You can add raisins or craisins or any kind of dry fruit you want. I just want these to be a basic oatmeal cookie. Oh, this smells really good. And we're going to do the same thing, try to get it into a log. And now we're going to wrap it up, just like we did with the chocolate chip cookies. Now we're going to put the oatmeal cookie in the refrigerator. And because we used oatmeal in the oatmeal cookie, I do need to wash my bowl and my paddle. And the next cookie we're going to make is a snickerdoodle. So in the mixing bowl I have 1½ cups of sugar and 1 cup of butter. Slowly mix in 2 eggs, 1 at a time. And we'll need 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And then add our flour mixture. In this bowl we have 2 3/4 cups of flour, 2 teaspoons of cream of tartar, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, a half a teaspoon of salt. All right, there is their snickerdoodle batter, cookie dough. And now the snickerdoodle is going to go in the refrigerator till later tonight. The last cookie dough I'm going to make is peanut butter cookies. I do have a grandson that has a peanut butter allergy, and I don't want to cross-contaminate my ingredients. Whenever I'm making cookies or multiple of different desserts, if one of those desserts contains peanuts or peanut butter, I always make sure I prepare that last. So we're going to mix the dough last. We're going to bake those cookies last. That way there's no cross-contamination with the chocolate chip, the oatmeal, or the snickerdoodles. So now we're going to work on the peanut butter cookies. So in the mixing bowl I have 1 cup of white sugar, 1 cup of brown sugar, 2 sticks of butter, we're going to add 1 cup of peanut butter, two eggs, one at a time, a teaspoon of vanilla, and in this bowl we have 2 1/2 cups of flour, 1 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and a half teaspoon of salt. And the peanut butter cookies. Piece of parchment paper. Dump our dough right on top of that. Because of my grandson's peanut allergy, I will not store this in the refrigerator anywhere near the other cookie doughs, just in case he wants one of the other cookies. He's not being cross-contaminated with the peanut butter cookies. And also, when I wash my dishes, I will give that mixer a good thorough wipe down to make sure there's no peanut residue on it, on the counter, around it. Any of the equipment I use gets washed thoroughly twice. Once to get rid of the debris, once to get rid of all the contaminants. So I'm actually going to put the peanut butter cookie dough in one of the drawers in the refrigerator, just so there's nowhere near anything else. And I also wrapped it in plastic wrap just to contain everything in this one package. So when I make the peanut butter cookies, the peanut butter was the last thing I touched. I measured out my flour and my sugar, the brown sugar, salt, baking soda, baking powder. All of that was touched before I touched that peanut butter. So none of those items are contaminated, but my hands are. So nothing's going to get put away until I start washing the dishes. So let me go ahead and get the kitchen reset. Wipe down that mixer, the countertop, the island. Everything is going to get washed. And then I'll put the things away because I have peanuts on my hand. And I do not want to touch nothing else in my kitchen until I am clean and the kitchen is clean. All the dishes have been washed twice. I wiped all the countertops. I wiped the mixer. I went ahead and wiped down the island. Everything is peanut free. The cookie doughs are in the refrigerator. The peanut butter cookie dough has been wrapped twice in a separate location than the other 3 cookies. Tonight when I come home, we're going to go ahead and start baking all these delicious cookies, making sure we're doing the peanut butter last. No cross-contamination. I take food allergies very, very serious. And if you have someone in your family or that you're cooking for, you need to take food allergies serious. Now, one of the items I have on my Azure order for tomorrow is sugar. That is all the cane sugar we have left. It might be about 2.5 cups. Thank goodness we were able to get all the cookies made before we ran out of sugar. But we have sugar coming tomorrow. And we still have 1 quart-sized jar of brown sugar, plus about a 1/2 cup in here. So we're okay on brown sugar for right now. But I do need to fill up my vanilla jar. I make my own homemade vanilla. It is just vanilla beans. I get those from Azure Standard. And then I just go to the liquor store and buy a bottle of liquor. I like both the spiced rum liquor and vodka. I use both of those. All you do is you take a vanilla bean and you cut it lengthwise, just one little slit, drop it in your liquor bottles, let it sit for about 6 months, and you have vanilla. This was a silver spiced rum that I made vanilla in, because I like the silver because it's a clear liquor. And this right here is a Tito's vodka, but the vanilla beans are just sitting in there. And this is also a clear liquor, but with the vanilla bean in there, it has turned it into an amber color. And to keep from sunlight affecting my homemade vanilla, I do keep it in the black plastic bag that you get from the liquor store. But I do need to fill this bottle up. And I'll alternate between the spiced rum and the vodka. It doesn't make a difference to me. I like the flavor equally the same, but they do have different flavors. So vanilla is going to go up in the cabinet. I'll put the vodka vanilla back into the pantry. And this will go into the recycling bin. So this is approximately 10 vanilla beans in here. This one has not been opened. I'm not going to open it to show you, but I will bring you along the next time we make vanilla. Because I do need to make some pretty soon, because I like to let it sit for about 6 months to a year before I use it. This, with Azure Standard, is $29.12. You're like, whoa, that's pretty expensive for a small container. Yes, it is. A 1.75 liter of alcohol in my state from the liquor store. This is a Captain Morgan silver spiced rum. And this is $21.99. So when you mix this with one of these, it's $51.11. There are 2.11 pints in this bottle, which comes up to be $24.22 a pint after you mix these together. And as for the Tito's, that was a little bit more expensive. For the same size bottle, it's $37.99. Take that bottle, put the vanilla bean in it, comes up to $59.11. Divide that with 2.11, which is how many pints is in this big bottle. That comes up to $28.01 per pint. Yes, Azure does sell already made vanilla extract. I don't know if they use an alcohol or they use a food grade glycerin. I'm not really sure. But for the Captain Morgan Spice Rum, that comes up to $24.22 a pint. For the Tito's, it's $28.01 a pint. Azure sells a pint, which is 16 ounces, for $20.29. It's cheaper to get it from Azure Standard, that is fine. But I don't buy those little bitty bottles they sell at the grocery store, because I do a lot of baking, and if you're like me, especially around the holidays, there's a lot of baking going on in this kitchen. And that little bitty bottle is probably about 3 recipes. That's not enough for me. That is why I make my own. Welcome back. Now we're going to go ahead and cook our cookie dough. Went ahead and took them all out of the refrigerator. So on the table I have the chocolate chips, the oatmeal, and the snickerdoodles. Over there I have the peanut butter. And you can actually freeze it in this state if you want to, or cut them up in smaller portions. Just need to make sure you let them thaw in the refrigerator until they're pliable. Then take them out just a couple hours before you're ready to make your cookies, and they'll be ready. I'm cutting them about 3/8 of an inch thick. The first dozen is going to go in the oven. The oven is preheated to 350 degrees. Looks like I'm going to get 44 chocolate chip cookies. The first 12 are out. So I'll put in the pizza pan that has 6 and the small baking sheet that has 6. And the chocolate chip cookies took 18 minutes. And we want the baking pan to cool off completely before we add more cookies to it, because it's just going to melt the butter and the chocolate chips and they will start to spread. So we're not going to put any cookies on there yet. So as for the oatmeal, I'm just cutting it into chunks. And we're just balling it up to about a walnut size. And this is the last of the chocolate chip cookies over here. Are cookies something that you cook during the holidays and then give them as gifts? A hostess gift when you're going to someone's house for a holiday party, or you give it to your co-workers, perhaps your kids' teachers in school. I like giving homemade gifts, whether it's a craft or food. The last 8 of the chocolate chips are going in the oven. And now we gotta let these cool off. And then we'll get the oatmeal cookies on there as soon as that pan cools off. The last of the chocolate chips are in the oven. They have about 8 minutes left. We got our oatmeal cookie into a bowl. So place them about 2 inches apart. I'm just using the same baking sheet with the same parchment paper as the chocolate chip cookies. Just take a fork. I have a bowl of water and a bowl of sugar. Dip the fork in the water, on the sugar, and just flatten them out. I'm leaving a little bit of sugar on each one. And as soon as the chocolate chip comes out, we're going to turn the oven up to 375 degrees. Then we'll bake the oatmeal cookies for about 8 to 10 minutes. The last chocolate chip cookies came out of the oven. I have the pans right there cooling off. Oven is up to temperature at 375. We're going to go ahead and put in the first batch of the oatmeal cookies. All the chocolate chip cookies are out of the oven. They have cooled and we have them in a bowl. Oatmeal cookies took 12 minutes. And the little sugar crystals on the top look so pretty. And I have the second pan in the oven, the small cookie sheet, as well as the pizza pan with more oatmeal cookies on that. And we're going to let this pan cool off before we add more cookies. So this is the snickerdoodle recipe. I'm just cutting them about a 1/4 inch and then rolling that into a ball. Trying to keep them all about the same size. Maybe just a little bit smaller than a walnut. And in here I have a 1/4 cup of sugar and 2 tablespoons of cinnamon. We want to make sure we coat those really well with the sugar and cinnamon. The last of the oatmeal cookies are coming out of the oven. Now we need to set the oven for 350 degrees. We're going to place the snickerdoodles about 2 inches apart. And using a glass cup or glass, we're just going to give them a little smash. I'm really not liking the rolling part and the sugar and the cinnamon. I'd rather do it this way. So I just put the cinnamon and sugar in a gallon size Ziploc bag. So much faster. In the 350-degree oven. The Snickerdoodle says 8 to 10 minutes. So we're going to set the timer for 10 minutes and figure out if we need to go eat longer than that. The Snickerdoodles took exactly 10 minutes. I got the first batch out. The second batch is in the oven. And they're absolutely gorgeous. Now we're going to let the pans cool off before we continue with the others. Now the last cookie we have to cook is the peanut butter cookies. But to keep everything else from being contaminated, we're taking precautions. So I went ahead and wrapped up the chocolate chips, the oatmeal, and the Snickerdoodles. And I have 2 bags of 10 of each of those cookies. One's for the Azure driver, and one's I'm going to take to work for the ladies I work with. Now that we know that our previous cookies are safe, they're going to go in the refrigerator, and then we're going to work on those peanut butter. All the cookies are put away. Now we can work on those peanut butter cookies without contaminating the other cookies. I have the oven set for 375 degrees. So here is our peanut butter. We're going to do the same thing as we did with the Snickerdoodles and the oatmeal. We're going to roll them into little balls about the size of a walnut. I personally love peanut butter cookies. What is your favorite cookie? And do you spend a day in the kitchen just making cookies or desserts to give as gifts or just for family gatherings? Do you do a cookie exchange with anybody? That sounds like fun. Let's go ahead and get started on that. I have a plate with some sugar. We're not doing water. And we're going to do a cross. Right in the center of these peanut butter cookies. 475-degree oven for 7 to 10 minutes. The last of the peanut butter cookies are in the oven. And because the sugar has come in contact with peanut butter, I will not save it. Our total cookie count. Chocolate chips, we have 44. Oatmeal, we have 56. Snickerdoodles, we have 61. Peanut butter, we have 58. That is a total of 219 cookies. We're going to give our Azure driver 10 of each one of these, so that's 40 cookies. Plus we're going to take 40 or 10 of each cookies to work tomorrow so we can share with the people we work with. I have made cookie dough in the past and went ahead and shaped them into little balls, flash freeze them on a cookie sheet, and then put them in a Ziploc bag or a vacuum seal bag. And all you have to do is, when you want cookies, you just take them out, put them on a baking sheet, and you can bake them from frozen. I've never done that with cookies that need to be smashed, such as the Snickerdoodles or the peanut butter cookies. But I'm sure if you flatten them out and go ahead and put your fork marks in those, flash freeze them, put them in a Ziploc bag or vacuum seal bag, they'll work just fine. If you plan on baking cookies with your grandchildren or your children, do like we did today. We can make it ahead of time, put them in the refrigerator, and then when it's time for the kids to come over and start baking cookies, you don't have to make the cookie dough. It'll be ready for you. If you don't mind, please give this video a thumbs up. While you're at it, please subscribe. I would love to have you part of the Grammy family. Until next time, y'all have a blessed day. Bye, family.